What's up, guys? It's your man KP67s bringing you another video today, and today is going to be a little different from the Empire Sith First Order focus that I've been having in the past and currently trying to get back to. Since the Empire is basically almost done, there's like one character I still have to do, but I don't know, I guess I'm just kind of delaying him because I want him to get a rework so he can be good. But that's neither here nor there. Today we're going to be covering bounty hunters as a replacement for the Empire reviews. So the first bounty hunter we're going to be covering is the most infamous bounty hunter out there, Boba Fett. So Boba Fett is a scoundrel bounty hunter, both tags, as well as an attacker. So because he carries the scoundrel tag, he can be used in the credit heist, droid smuggling. He also gains synergy with other scoundrel characters such as the Solo Squad. So when you look at his stats here, you can see that his agility is substantially higher in comparison to his strength and tactics, which means he's going to be a little squishier, but he's going to hit pretty hard. Here you can see, like I said, he's a little on the squishier side, doesn't have the best amount of protection or health. That health is with a med pack, by the way, so he's pretty squishy. Speed is a good speed for him, I think, sitting around 240, 241. Critical damage, his modding needs a little bit of changing. I would like to get that to 216. Right now I have a critical chance triangle on him because for most bounty hunters, you want more critical chance because you want them to amplify their damage as much as possible, in addition to the fact that a lot of them have a naturally high critical chance or have a unique which grants them critical chance. So when you look here at his damage is decent, and his critical chance is nice and high. If I can get that to like 50 to 55% with 216% critical damage, that's probably the best that I would try to run for. And you can see here that his armor penetration's at 103. I make a point about this because he doesn't have his Mark 12 stun gun yet, which gives him an extra 100 penetration, as well as the fact that his Payout really amplifies his amount of damage through his armor penetration. Like I said, he's squishy, so his armor is nothing to write home about, and his special attacks are neither here nor there for him because it doesn't matter. So where can you find his shards in this case? You can farm him completely free to play. He's in 2 hard nodes and the Cantina battle store. 5 shards for 400 currency. They also release, faction packs, the Bronzium, the Fleet Mega Pack because Slave 1 is there. I wouldn't recommend any of the packs because he's easily farmable, guys. Don't waste your money on him. With respect to his gearing, now, all bounty hunters are kind of annoying to gear, and Boba Fett is really annoying because he requires much more annoying pieces. So he needs 6 of the Mark 6 hypo syringes. That's a lot of them, as well as the fact that he needs 3 Mark 5 furnaces. He needs 2 of the golden eyeballs. He needs like 2 stun cuffs, 2 of the Mark 4 Cheetak comlinks. He needs like 2 of everything, so it's just really annoying, but at the same time, not as bad as most of the other bounty hunters who need just stun gun after stun gun after stun gun. Boba Fett doesn't really have that problem here. But, as a result, he gets a lot of damage output, but, conversely, he is quite squishy. So keep that in mind. So, going towards his abilities, we have his basic here, the EE3 Carbine. Deal physical damage to the target enemy with a 50% chance, 100% for scoundrels, to attack again. Each attack has a 70% chance to inflict a damage over time for 2 turns. This is pretty useful. He tends to hit twice more often than not, and against other bounty hunters or scoundrels, because as long as you have the scoundrel tag, he shoots twice, guaranteed. And he'll throw on debuffs, which can play very well with different bounty hunters. So other than that, it's a pretty straightforward attack. It hits hard. As a fun little aside note, if you're a newer player, Boba Fett was actually originally a tank and didn't use his gun, so they completely reworked him last year, almost a year ago now, to actually use his weapon as a basic. Going towards his first special, Death from Above, deal physical damage to all enemies with an 80% chance to inflict ability a block for 1 turn, and a 50% chance to inflict a dot for 2 turns. And for the selected target, he will inflict ability block for 2 turns, assuming your potency is high enough. So here is like Boba Fett's biggest use, especially at the open being fast. He can just shut down an opposing squad extremely quickly. They can't use any specials. They get a bunch of debuffs on them. It is painful to see how much like debuffing goes down to actually shut a squad down. Obviously, with the advent of tenacity and mods 2.0, more tenacity heavy characters like Zeta Bastila, this can be a lot more worse as a result, but it's still got a lot of great value, especially in a mode like Territory Wars. And then finally here, we have his second special, Execute. Deal physical damage to the target enemy and dispel all buffs and debuffs on them, both. You deal 30% more damage for each effect dispelled, and if this attack defeats the target, they can't be revived, and Boba Fett reduces his cooldowns by 1. If he doesn't kill them, he inflicts a healing immunity for 2 turns, and this ability can't be evaded. So there's a lot going on with Execute, which makes it just such a powerful special. When you're dealing with squads, for instance, like back in the day when Chase was meta, Chirrut and Baze would just spam buff after buff after buff after buff, and here comes Boba with an Execute where he just one-shots them because of how many buffs they end up putting over their head. The same thing can be done against the Jedi, which also just spam a ton of buffs on themselves, to the point where Boba Fett can one-shot with a crit characters like Grandmaster Yoda with 1 hit. It's huge, it's very, very useful, and like it says, you can use it very quickly as you kill more and more characters with Execute, one-shotting, one-shotting, one-shotting. So going into Boba Fett's leader ability here, Dead or Alive. All allies gain 50% critical damage and 10% critical chance. Bounty Hunters will gain 15 speed for each debuffed enemy, gain max health equal to 50% of the total potency of all Bounty Hunter allies, and gain 15% turn meter whenever a thermal detonator explodes. So just that whole paragraph right there, there's a lot going on. So number 1, he's amping up damage. Number 2, he's granting a ton of passive amount of speed for each debuffed enemy. So 15 times 5, you're looking at 75 speed to each Bounty Hunter if every single opponent has a debuff. That is huge to get the upper hand over an opposing squad when you're using Boba Fett as the leader. This part is also interesting. It kind of tanks everybody up. So you add up the potency of every Bounty Hunter, divide it by half, and then that percentage is based off of Boba Fett's health, which he grants to everybody else. So, like, let's just say, you know, your final tally was like 50% and Boba's health is 24,000. Every Bounty Hunter gains an extra 12,000 health, which does help to tank them up significantly before other Bounty Hunters came to play. And then finally, the big one, like in all things in this game, turn meter is like, you know, the demigod to the god of speed. Every time you blow up a thermal detonator, you gain 15% turn meter, and a lot of the Bounty Hunters since the rework drop a ton of thermal detonators. Greedo, Zam, Dengar, Cad Bane on his unique. Just so many thermal detonators can be tossed out there, and you can just gain so much speed as a result and just completely annihilate your opponent. Now, the second part to his leadership, I know it's a long piece, but all Bounty Hunters have massive leaderships now. When Boba Fett is in the leader slot and not in the ally slot, the following contract is activated. So these are contracts, the parts of the game where you're supposed to fulfill a certain requirement to activate a special payout. So the contract for Boba is to defeat the first enemy that takes a turn in any encounter. So the first enemy that goes is the enemy that you have to kill to activate this contract. The reward for activating this contract is all Bounty Hunters have plus 25% tenacity for the rest of the battle, and their payouts are activated. not the best reward, but I mean, they kind of had to balance it because he already had so much good stuff in his leadership. To give him anything else would have made him like, yes, this is the only leader that you can use. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So this forces a bit of thinking and strategy when you're using your bounty hunters. Do I want to use this leader or do I want to use that leader because of the payout that you can get? So then we get into Bounty Hunter's Resolve here. Another fun fact, this was the very first Zeta I ever placed when Zetas are first released. At the start of battle, and whenever he defeats an enemy, Boba Fett recovers 100% protection and gains Bounty Hunter's Resolve until he's defeated. Now, Bounty Hunter's Resolve is a locked buff where he ignores taunts during his turn. And if he's defeated, he gets to revive himself at 100% health, and this can't be dispelled or prevented. So this is like Boba Fett's personal revive that, barring an annihilate, a terminate, or an execute, will always allow him to come back. And if he can kill a character, not only does he regain all of his protection, but then he regains Bounty Hunter's Resolve. And there was a period of time, especially in Galactic War, where if you're going against a Boba Fett with a weak team, you could kill Boba Fett, but then Boba Fett would kill one of your characters, and then he would just regain Bounty Hunter's Resolve. He would just never die, and then you could blow through your entire roster and not finish Galactic War because of Boba Fett. Obviously, that's different now with certain super killer tunes, but, you know, that was what it was before. And now we have the part that got added to like every single bounty hunter except one, his payout, Boba Fett's payout here. So at full max, whenever Boba Fett receives a contract reward, he also gains the following payout. His payout is that he gains 100% turn meter, so he gets to go the second the payout is activated. And for the rest of the battle, he gains plus 50 speed and an additional defense penetration equal to double his current penetration. So that's where his Mark 12 stun gun will come into play handily. You are going to be getting 200 armor penetration at the base. His contract goes off. He now gains an additional double his original penetration. So it goes from 200 to 400, adding to his original 200, which gives him 600 armor penetration. He literally just ignores armor. Armor does not matter to him. He also gains a ton of speed, and he ends up hitting like a truck. It doesn't matter what tank you might be using. He is going to maximize his damage against them. And that's why, you know, gearing him up, making him quick can only enhance him that much more. And it's insane when you watch him just start murdering people left, right, and center when you trigger a payout of any kind. So that's something else to keep in mind. Okay, so getting into his mods here, as you can see here, I have 4 critical damage. Well, actually, no, sorry. 4 critical damage, a potency, and a crit chance. I know, kind of haphazard. I think I want to try to make him get a potency set. I don't know. I might actually go crit chance set, given that crit chance has gotten such a buff in mods 2.0. As you can see here, he's got speed on the arrow. He's got critical chance, like I said, on the triangle. He's got offense on the cross. You want him to hit hard, so get that offense on him. And he's got protection on the circle. The secondaries that you're obviously aiming for is like any other attacker secondaries. Speed, offense, critical chance. And then your fourth one is to kind of shore up any strengths that you may have. He gives a lot of debuffs, so I would say potency could be an option for you. If you want him to be a little bit more survivable, especially with protection, you can add protection secondaries to him. But the big 3 that you should be trying to run is speed, critical chance, offense. Fourth one, potency or protection is ideal, but I would choose to go whichever way you wish to go. So, with respect to Boba Fett's uses, Boba Fett is also a ship pilot here for the Slave One, and the Slave One is a powerful ship which will get its own video. Suffice to say, it's a lot of fun to bring him in from reinforcements and just start laying waste to your opponents. But that's neither here nor there. Getting into Boba Fett's general uses, he is one of the best bounty hunters that you can use in this game. He used to be the worst bounty hunter in the game, but now he is quite literally the best. Lots of damage, very quick, has a revive, has an elimination move and execute. There's just so much that he can do. Especially as a leader, like you can just blow past another squad with the amount of turn meter you gain based on the type of team you're constructing. If you construct a thermal detonator team, you're going to walk through a lot of what you face. Obviously, super meta teams like Traya, Palpatine squads, Bastila squads, those can give bounty hunters a little bit of a tougher time, but Traya obviously will give anybody a tough time right now. She's the pinnacle, basically. But, you know, Boba Fett is great in a bounty hunter squad. He is great in territory battles for the bounty hunter special missions. He is also great in territory wars, either on offense or on defense. He will put in the work. So if you're new to the bounty hunters and if you're trying to farm bounty hunters and not sure where to start, Boba Fett is what's the word I was looking for here? Boba Fett is basically just, he's a Captain Obvious, basically. It is obvious that you want Boba Fett for a bounty hunter squad, regardless of the bounty hunter squad that you're trying to build, because he brings so much versatility with his moves, his ability to ignore taunts, and that's why I recommend you farm him as soon as you possibly can. Alright guys, that concludes this review of Boba Fett. If you liked the video, please leave a like, subscribe for more videos, comment down at the bottom. You know, I like to try to maintain a little bit of talking with my subs and fans. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so definitely hit that subscribe button if you like what you see, and hit the notification bell so that way you never miss a video from me. Alright guys, have a good day.